Hey everybody. So we are beginning inheritance, which is 3.4, and it's a rather long topic, as you can see by the miles and miles and miles of assessment statements. But this very first one, 3.4.1, is defined. So we're going to talk about some of these terms, which we're going to be using throughout the whole topic. Also, hey, Julie accepted my meeting. And also, the other thing I want to do here is I want to only talk about a few of these, and then we're going to practice them. So I'm not going to go through all these definitions, but let's start with genotype. So a genotype is the combination of alleles. So if you remember, on homologous chromosomes, which these are, if you can imagine that, just going to see if I can make this diagram a little bit bigger. If you can imagine that the pink one is a chromosome from your mother, and the blue one is a chromosome from your father, same gene, same location, but the alleles can be different. So we are, for example, let's talk about the gene that controls height. So you can have a gene that's tall, or you can have a gene that's small. When we write genotypes, so this would be a genotype right here. When we write genotypes, we use the same letters. So if there is a trait that is dominant, so we have a dominant allele, I can't spell dominant, we use a capital T or a big T, and if we have an allele that is recessive, that means it doesn't do anything for that trait, and the plant will not be tall or it'll be short. So we use a small letter for recessive traits. A dominant trait, a dominant allele, if it's present, that trait will be expressed 100%. So what does that mean? So for example, there are three combinations you can have here, right? You can have what we wrote here. You can have a large T from your father, for example, and a small t from your mother. And because the T is dominant, the phenotype is how the gene is expressed. So how you see it. Sometimes students remember phenotype, like what do you physically see, the pH in physical. So how the gene is expressed. So if we have a dominant and a recessive, a big T and a small t, that plant's phenotype, how it will be physically, like how it will physically look, will be tall. So that's one combination you can have. You could also have a big T from your dad and a big T from your mom, right? This doesn't have to be a little t. Maybe both parents gave you the allele, the form of the gene for tall, and that will definitely be tall. And there's no difference in the tallness. Either you have it or you don't. So it's not like I'll be 100% tall and you'll be 50% tall because you only have half. It doesn't work that way. The third way this genotype can be written is if you have both small t's or both recessive forms of the gene. And in this case, the phenotype will be expressed as a small plant or not tall. So that is a good way to summarize genotype, phenotype, dominant alleles, and recessive alleles as they relate to how things are inherited.